Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smarts, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smarts has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third-world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be relent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a microlender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Well, today I am speaking to Dr. Lisa Zaretsky, and she was actually on episode 69. And during that time, we had a conversation about leveraging adversity for success. We had a great conversation. We're both a part of the same organization, which is the International Association of Top Professionals. And I think we really click when it comes to this idea of productivity smarts and addressing the non-conscious or subconscious mind to overcoming limiting beliefs. And so we've had a really good conversation even before we're going to have our conversation. So today, I'm really excited to talk to her about her new book called The Secrets of Self-Hypnosis. And I think you're going to find this really fascinating. So Dr. Lisa, I have two questions that I've started asking that I don't think I asked you before. And that is, what is your favorite style of music?
So I love 70s music, particularly soft rock 70s.
Excellent, excellent. And what is the one song that really inspires you?
I love Dancing Queen.
Now, the question is why?
Obviously, I love the group. I don't know, the rhythm, the song, and I loved to dance when I was younger. And it was one of the things that I was strong in and talented in. I wasn't a great athlete, but I was a really good dancer and I excelled there. And I don't know, it made me feel like a queen. I don't know. I just love it.
Excellent. Well, obviously, you've been dancing a lot as well as writing a lot. And so you've actually written a new book, and you know, it's The Secrets of Self-Hypnosis. Tell us a little bit more about your book and why did you write it?
That's a great question. I decided to write the book because I had developed in the last 3 years something called what I call the Hypnotherapy Coaching Program. And it's a really profound program. It's a 3-month program where I've been keeping data and I have over a 95% success rate. Oh, wow. And it's amazing. And it incorporates the hypnotherapies that I've been trained in. I've been trained in traditional hypnotherapy. I've been trained in rapid transformational therapy, otherwise known as RTT. Both are included. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker. So I incorporated what I've learned in the trade from there and different coaching styles in terms of what I know about the mind. And I'm also a licensed teacher in different forms of teaching, general ed, special ed reading. So I used all of my teacher training and put it together there in terms of methodology and structuring it and thinking about how to help people in real time, as well as being able to apply it going forward so that it sticks and it could be applied in real life and continue with them. So they have rapid and enduring results. And so my doctorate is also in cognitive diversity. So I applied everything I know about brain and mind also. And I came up with this amazing program. And I'm grateful, and it's a privilege to walk beside people through their journeys to have the success rate that we've had. It pretty much has addressed a wide scope of issues. I've worked 50% male, 50% female, and I've worked with children, teens, and adults. And I've worked with just about anything that gets in your way from where you want to go. It could be addiction, it could be depression, it can be career obstacles, financial issues, weight reduction. And those are just a few examples. It's certainly not the exhaustive list. I've worked with so many different people and different issues. And I see, a lot of the same things where people have these programs in their minds and these beliefs that are set from early on. And most of the time when people come in, they think they know what's in their way, or they think they're presenting problems in their way. However, when we do this program, it becomes very clear that it's deeper and more profound in it. And it's usually belief systems that are formed earlier on. And it's like Velcro. As you go through life, your subconscious is 95% of your operating system.
Right.
And we think that we're operating from our conscious mind, but it's only 5%. So as people go through therapy or other modes of treatment or self-help, it's really sticking in that 5%, but the 95%, that subconscious mind is still speaking and dictating and
Right.
ruling, for lack of a better word, in the background. So what I saw is these belief systems that were in their way, and we get right to them. We do deep dives and we excavate and release them, and are able to plant new life affirming, accurate belief systems that then influence thought, and that influences emotions, and that influence actions and behaviors, and builds new neural pathways and new behaviors and new patterns along the way.
Right.
And in the program, we work together on structuring that and applying it and making it stick. And we talk about frequency, and we talk about intensity and duration. So those are the keys also. And I have that all built into the program, and building a new life. And I would say that, like I said, over 95% of the people I've worked with have had excellent results and have truly had life transformations and applied them going forward, and continue to build their lives in new and enriching ways, and reach their goals and elevate and evolve in ways that they never thought possible. But what they came in with wasn't exactly what they thought. They thought they knew what it was.
Yeah.
It wound up to be something totally different from when they were younger. And those beliefs tend to build. I call them tagging. They stick like Velcro. And so each experience that you have has those faulty belief systems in the back. And with every experience, it sticks on, it sticks on, it sticks on. So you're really experiencing life. Say you internalized and formed a belief at age 3, 5, 10, and you're 50 or 60. You're experiencing it through that 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15, whatever it is, sometimes even other adult years. So I saw this program being very successful. And then there were people out there, that may not be able to access the program or be able to be involved in that, whether it be because of cost or whatever it may be. And
Right.
so I felt it was very important that people have the access and the opportunity to empower themselves to utilize some of these tools. And while you cannot do the program I do not advise regression on your own, self-hypnosis is a way to, with intensity, frequency, and duration, create good routines like I do it myself morning and night. And it's also a way of changing thought patterns, which then change emotional patterns. And if you do it with intensity, frequency, and duration, those thought patterns do have an impact on the belief systems. And so if you stick to it with a routine and you do it and you create scripts that are addressing your thoughts or what's in your way or your emotions, eventually those thought patterns start to change, and they also can influence the belief systems, and they certainly influence your emotional patterns and then your actions and your behaviors. And it does create new neural pathways. So it's empowering people to be able to take life into their own hands and access their mind and unlock their potential.
Wow. Now you talk about intensity, frequency, and just the emotional component of that. With
Mhm.
self-hypnosis, and you mentioned for yourself that you do it twice a day. Like, what's the time commitment that you spend? And what do you think is the time commitment that someone could spend to begin to see some changes from what you have in your book?
That's a great question. I choose to do a 20-minute in the morning and a 20-minute at night. And I handcrafted my script. I took a bunch of things together and I put them together in what resonated for me. But
Yeah.
I also have other scripts that if I don't have time, I can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I suggest that people start incrementally. Do a 5-minute script, start there. You could even do a 3-minute script. Whatever you do is still working. It's still doing something. And especially if you do it in a routine with intensity, frequency, and duration,
Right.
results do happen. So I think it's going to be the quality and the context of the script that you choose and put together and compose, or you can, in the back of the book, the last chapter, I have samples of different types of scripts that you can make your own. I don't have I purposely put pieces of scripts that address certain issues.
Right.
But there are people that have different issues, complex things they want to address. And so this way they can be creative and see what resonates with them and either combine or use it separately. And then I have a sample of an induction and I have a sample of a closure. So it makes it very easy to put your own script together that works for you, or you can add your own wording and create creativity. And you can do whatever time works for you. Just it's still doing something. And
Right.
doing something is what's taking action
Right.
and creating changes in your neural pathways, in your mind, and your life.
Right. Now, it sounds like there's a 3-part framework to this process, right? There's an induction, then there's the affirmations or the self-hypnosis component to it,
And the reframing.
and then the transition. Can you talk a little bit more about the induction? Like, from a self-hypnosis standpoint, how does someone go from beta, right, just consciousness, and they're up and about, and they're like, oh, I'm struggling with this, and I'm struggling with these thoughts, or I have limiting thoughts about my finances, or I have limiting thoughts about my work, or the fact that AI is taking a lot of people's jobs, or the economy, or just society at large. And I want to put myself in a place where I can begin to change the way I feel about what's happening. I can't change what's outside, right? I can't change what's going on in the environment, but I can change the way I perceive and process what's going on. What does that induction process look like?
So that's a 2-part answer. So the first part I'm going to say is, and I have this in the book also, and I model this after psychedelic assisted psychotherapy and their model, because when I was trained in psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, I realized that there was a lot of similarity, that both were bypassing the default system of the conscious brain and asking the conscious brain and the nervous system to go on rest. So the hypnosis is guiding that, and the plant medicine is working biochemically to do that. And so I realized that part of very important component in the hypnotherapy coaching program that I do, and then in the self-hypnosis, is setting intentions. So when you start to set intentions, you're already directing the mind on where you desire and intend for it to go. So I recommend, before anybody does self-hypnosis, or any kind of hypnosis for that matter, but when you're doing this, and using the book, and I have it in there, is that you set your intentions. And it doesn't, if you hear that critic in yourself, and I suggest writing it down. And if you hear that critic saying that can never happen, whatever, I'm going to say, do not overthink it. When you set your intentions, you have to be intentional, obviously, and mindful. However, you also want that stream of consciousness to come out as well, because that's going to tell you where you truly, authentically want to go.
Right.
And if that inner critic is there, you could say, you know what, thank you so much. I appreciate your efforts to want to try to protect me, or whatever role you've had. And I appreciate all that you're trying to do. And now I'm setting intentions, and you're welcome to join me and change your role to be a cheerleader or a coach or whatever, as we set these intentions going forward. I'm not looking to get rid of you. I'm looking for you to collaborate with me. So in any way, in any role that you want to work with me, thank you. But being the inner critic is not going to work right now. So thank you. And how can we work together going forward? And how could your role change? And you set those intentions. And once you have those intentions, you have a focus. And it makes it easier to then go into the induction, because your mind has already been given direction.
Right. What's a good
It's been
example of an
given,
intention?
oh, it could be so variable. So if you want to be very concrete, my intention is to get through the day with positive thoughts.
Okay.
My intention is to release anxiety throughout the day.
Mm,
My intention is to heal my heart. My intention is to lead with a whole heart and love in spite of or despite anything in any situation, circumstances. My intention is to release outcomes. I gave you a whole bunch.
exactly.
It really works right? My intention is to have optimal productivity today.
Right.
My intention is to have my highest optimal performance today. It really varies. And so once you have that intention, and sometimes it could be more than one, right? So I can want to be my highest best self today I want to heal my whole heart, and I want to be productive today. And so that's okay. And my script reflects all of that. So once you have the intention set and you write it down and you speak it out loud, your mind already has direction. Then I recommend recording the script, whatever works for you. I recorded my script. I put my headphones in, I turn on play, and I get myself comfortable. And the induction, like you said, takes you from that conscious place in beta and it takes you through delta into theta. And theta is where a lot of the messaging takes hold from the script because you've passed that default part of you and the conscious is now at rest, and the induction instructs the mind and the conscious to rest. It instructs your nervous system to rest, and it instructs it that it's safe to do that. And so that induction is taking you through the brain waves, but it's also taking you to a place where the conscious and the nervous system can be at rest, and then you can access the subconscious mind and you're listening, where the self-hypnosis script and the words then become the messaging and the reframing of the thoughts, which then also in the script can also teach you how to take action if you choose to put that in the script. And then after it's done that job, it's like, think about planting seeds, watering them, planting them, watering them, and then giving them sunlight. And then the sun starts to set. And that's when you start to come out of the hypnosis. And that's the transition out. And there's a transformation at the end where you give your mind instructions on what it's going to look like going forward. Those are the instructions I was telling you, instructing your mind how to take those reframes and apply them. And then it does the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it takes you from that theta back so that you are in a conscious state and your brain waves change back, and it helps you to go through the day. And at night, I have in my script, which I offer in my book as well, a little paragraph that says, if you should choose to go to sleep, you can stay asleep and have these dreams that reinforce the messaging in the script. And so I often fall asleep doing it because I choose to take that suggestion and use my sleep and my dreams to influence my thoughts, my actions, my emotions, and my belief systems.
Right. Now, in that process, and you have your instructions, do you identify like what you want to work on and how do you want to change your thinking? And then do you record that on a digital recorder or something that you can then listen to in your own voice? Or, I know there are applications out there where you can copy text or type text into an app and it'll have like a voice that'll read it back to you kind of thing. And it'll even loop it, right? So it just kind of repeats it over and over again and so on. What are your thoughts there?
I think either works. I'm a fan for at least myself, but I really encourage people to play around to see what works best for them because different people have different needs and their minds have what resonates with them would be different because of whatever they have going on in their life or their history. So I wouldn't presume to guess. I think each person has to tailor it to themselves. I'm a big fan of, and for me, I like to record my voice because my mind listens to my voice more than any other voice. And so if it's hearing my voice, my words, my intonation, since it hears it all day, I think it's going to have the most impact if it's my voice when I'm doing the self-hypnosis.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the rewiring of limiting beliefs that sabotage our productivity or goal execution, how does that
Mm-hmm.
really work? I mean, I kind of have a good idea because I've been doing this work for a while on myself and I've read a ton of books like everyone I've interviewed, which has been really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But from your perspective, how does that really work in layman's terms so that someone's listening going, okay, I want to do this, but I'm not sure how it really, really works. And what is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll just break it down to a very simple, concrete, black and white type
Sure.
way. So clearly there's like all these different beliefs that we internalize through different events and situations that shape our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, then impact our actions and going forward in our neural pathways. However, a lot of times those events that shape them have pretty common themes.
Hmm.
And those common themes are I'm not good enough, it's not available to me,
Right.
or I'm not lovable
Yeah.
or worthy. And so these common themes play over and over. So at the core of these belief systems, you can typically find a theme. And many people, those themes, I'm not good enough, it's not available to me, I'm not lovable or worthy, I'm not enough. Those basic themes play out in many different ways that create limiting beliefs. And we tell ourselves stories
Right.
based on the events that happen, based on those themes that create the beliefs and then influence our thoughts and so on.
Right.
So in black and white terms, there's often these themes to the beliefs. And when I'm doing regression, going back to the hypnotherapy coaching program, for example, if their mind is trying to be protective and doesn't want to go to that belief and doesn't want to give it up, I can usually get there through how did that make you feel?
Mm.
Because often, how does that make you feel? And you keep, say, how does that make you feel? And how does that make you feel? And then what belief formed from those feelings?
Right.
And then boom, we get what the belief is. And I would say at this point, 100% of the time, it's one of those themes.
So it seems like when you're working with someone or when they're going through this process, just getting to the point where they become somewhat conscious, if you will, of the
Mm-hmm.
belief that has been there, that it brings it to the surface. Then the mind is able to address it. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you're doing self hypnosis, you're not doing a regression. When you're doing a regression, it goes back to the events, time, space, place at any point in quantum space that impact or that imprint happened that is creating these patterns that are keeping you stuck or in your way or influencing, keeping you limited, whatever it may be. When you're doing self hypnosis, you're not doing the regression, but you are reframing these thoughts over and over again with intensity, frequency, and duration. And that does impact your emotions. It also can influence your beliefs. So the more you do it, and over more period of time you do it, and the consistency that you do it with, it can very much impact the beliefs and start to turn them around.
Yeah, I shared this earlier, but one of the things that I've done, especially after the vertigo incident that happened in 2018, and I
David
start
mentioned
really
that.
trying to rewire myself and understand the neuroscience of what was happening, why it happened. And I was shared with by a gentleman named Mike Rayburn, who's a really good friend, and Brian Tracy shared with him was to write out your goals as affirmations. And on my way back from that weekend, I got a notebook and I just started doing that every day. And then I digitized it where I do it on my iPad, and it's become a habit. Like literally in the morning, I get up, I will do yoga, and before I'll help my wife get out the door because she's a teacher, and then I will sit down, and I feel like I can't start my day unless I write down what are the 5 things I'm grateful for. And I know from Dr. Dawson Church that begins to create positive neural wiring around what you're being grateful for, and it kind of wires that into your body as well. But then I'll write out my 5 main life goals as affirmations, and I'll listen to theta wave music.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that over time my life has radically changed, and some of the things that used to limit me, and I didn't go back, I didn't do the regression process. I probably should have. Some of the things that
There's
happen.
always time. There's always time. And then you could see all the layers, right? So there's always
Right.
going to be another layer that comes up, which is the beauty
Yeah.
of the process.
Yeah. But I've been doing this now for probably 5 years or so, and
Mhm.
it has radically changed my life. And that's
Mhm.
why when I read your book, it really resonated like, wow, okay. I mean, it kind of exposed more things that it kind of put more pieces together for me. But I just thought, wow, this is really, really cool. And especially when it comes to being resilient or dealing with burnout or overcoming setbacks or being distracted, just the process of, for my self-hypnosis through writing out my goals and the visualization and the meditation and so on, it really has supported me in those areas. And how can it support?
Yeah. So I would encourage you to even try this. Record yourself, like do that process and then record yourself, record what you put down and came up with,
Right.
and either attach the induction and the transition and the transformation out or don't, and listen to it. Sometimes if you're not doing the induction and it's just playing over those affirmations, then okay, you're still in your conscious mind, you can walk away and you can listen to it as you're doing things, which can be kind of cool to try. And if you want to add the induction where it is taking you into that place, then I would just rest and see what happens if you do it before bed. And if you do it when you wake up in the morning, even before you do the process, and see what happens. I think that would be a cool experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I listened to something called Paraliminals that I learned from Dr. Paul Shilley. And it's basically, it's a voice in both parts of your ears, it's affirmations, but it actually bypasses the conscious mind and begins to
Mhm.
reprogram the subconscious mind. Many people
Yeah.
today struggle with follow through. How does
Mhm.
integrating this self hypnosis component for goal setting process, motivation, consistency, long term, how can that really make a big difference if someone feels like they're struggling with just following through?
Yeah, that I understand what you're saying. So I would start with the intention setting process and I would make it very specific, right? So instead of, I don't follow through on everything, which you can get to with the self hypnosis process again with that intensity, frequency, and duration. But I would start with one thing that you're struggling to follow through with, and I would make that your intention.
Right.
And then I do have in the book, I have a script about following through, productivity, performance. Pick one of them. If you want to combine them, fine. But if you just want to start somewhere, pick the one that resonates with you that has to do with one of those things. And I would start just setting that intention every day, morning, night, both, whatever works for you. And then recording yourself and then listening to that recording over and over every single day so that you're setting the intention with the goal that you want to accomplish, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then listen to the recording so that you're already directing your mind and you're already telling yourself in your mind that you are following through. You never use the word will, that's in the future. You start training the mind now. I am following through. I am capable. All of these different affirmations that start to also reframe and redirect the mind. So the scripts have the redirection and the reframing with the affirmations. And then the transformation ad, it gives you a little something to tell you what your life is looking like as you're coming out of hypnosis. And that starts to change the messaging in your mind. And so the intention is there and directing it. And it also makes you mindful when you set that intention as well as intentional. And
Right.
then you start retraining the mind and you go forward each day. And you'll see when you let go of the outcome and you do that process, it might just start to happen incrementally and naturally. And here's the thing where I also help people see if you're really attached to the outcome, you may be addicted to the victim mindset, and
Mm.
that I'll never be able to do that. And that I just can't follow through and nothing works. And, that's very much a belief system that I'm a victim. And
Right.
if you see that happening, then I would change the script and the intention in terms of recognizing that being the victim is your limiting belief and in the way, and that you're maybe addicted to being the victim, or you're stuck on being the victim. And your intention is to have a different mindset, so I am free, I am liberated, I am empowered, I am capable. That could be your intention.
Right.
I am successful. I am free from victimhood and things like that. I am fearless, whatever it may be that resonates with
Right.
that person, but recognizing that it's coming, the issue, the underlying thoughts
Yes.
are, I'm really comfortable in victim mode, right? So the mind is tricking them
Yeah.
in that comfort, familiarity is comfort.
Yeah.
When in fact, it's really not comfortable. So I think people say, I'm not comfortable being a victim. That's not what I'm saying. Oh, it feels warm, yummy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what the mind believes is familiar, it has the illusion that that is comfort, because familiarity has the delusion of comfort, when in fact, it's not comfortable and it gets in your way and you keep trying to change it. But the mind is trying to protect you and taking you back to what seems to be familiar, the old familiar, with the illusion and the delusion that that's comfortable. So once you're aware of that and you address victim mode and victim mortality and ready to release that, and
Right.
that is your intention, I release, I am free, I am successful, whatever works for you. I'm just giving some examples. My guess is they'll start to make more progress. And once they're ready to release that victim mindset and modality, they'll be ready to then move into productivity and higher performance and tapping into their potential.
Wow. Wow. So listen, I have one more question for you, because this has been a great conversation and I could talk to you all
Yeah,
day long about this
me
stuff.
too. I really enjoy talking with you too. We always really have the most amazing conversations on and
Exactly.
off
Exactly.
camera.
Exactly. So now let me ask you this, in regards to practical tips for busy professionals who want to
Mhm.
integrate this into their lives either daily or weekly with this self-hypnosis routine, what could they do that could help them get started without having to commit a lot of time? Because maybe they say, I don't have 20 minutes or 10 minutes in the
Yeah.
morning, or in the evening I'm exhausted, and I
Mhm.
usually if I lay down, I fall asleep within a minute or two. What
Yep.
could someone do who is just getting started? They're busy, but they want to start seeing the benefits of this practice.
Yeah. So I would say that first is commitment. So if you're going to say, I think being busy is super accurate, and I know that it happens, and I have the same thing, and I know plenty of people who are. However, I believe that the first thing is it's commitment to self. I
Right.
want to make change, right? So once you're ready to make that commitment, even if you're exhausted and busy, you're going to be willing to take another 5 minutes out of your day to do something different.
Right.
So be clear with yourself. Am I ready to make the change? If I am, okay, 5 minutes. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can wake up and set your intention for the day. Write it down. I wake up and before I go into the bathroom, here's my intention. You're not overthinking it. It's just what you want to do. Okay. Intention set on your night table. And then you go about your day. And at some point throughout the day, you can make the recording, or you can make the recording on a weekend. You can pick the script on a weekend or a time where you have a little downtime. You don't need more than 5 minutes. You take out your phone. You don't even need a recorder. Put on voice notes and record a script for 5 minutes, right? Take a 5 minute, they're short, and you can record it.
Right.
You can pick the induction, you can pick the script, and so record it at any time, whenever works for you. It could be even in the bathroom, whatever works for you. And once you record it, you have it on your phone. People have their phones on them all the time.
Right.
And then they can say, you know what, I'm exhausted. My head's going to hit the pillow. But before they do that, they put their earbuds in. And before they put their head on the pillow, they press play so that they fall asleep to it. It's not actually any more time during their day. So, really, what took the time in the beginning on that first day was writing the intention and putting it on their night table,
Mhm.
and then doing the 5 minute recording. Now, you no longer have those 5 minutes anymore in terms of doing the recording, because if you don't have time, it's going to be done when you're sleeping. So, you have the minute in the morning where you write the intention. And then you have the minute where you put the earbuds in before your head hits the pillow, you press play, and there you go. So that's 2 minutes extra a day after that first day. So if you really want to do something about it and you can spare the 2 minutes, then you're adding 2 minutes to your day with your commitment to yourself to do something different and make change. And then you can always add to the script. You can always change the script. You can always make it longer. You can always change it to another 5-minute one once you feel that one is no longer resonating with you.
Right.
There's so much choice and option, and there's so much empowerment, and you're redirecting your mind, but you're also in charge of your choice and your free will and how you're going to spend your time. And it just requires creativity and, from my perspective, commitment to change and self-help and doing something different to make the change that you want.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Lisa, if people want to get to know you or work with you, where can they go?
Well, I appreciate you asking. Actually, I am having a new website launch this week.
Okay.
So you can go to, hopefully it's up and live, or it will be in the next few days. It's www.zaretsky, ZARETSKY-wellness.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at Zaretsky Wellness, on Facebook at Lisa Zaretsky, and LinkedIn at Dr. Lisa Zaretsky.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Dr. Lisa, it's been great talking to you again. And I thought it was interesting that the first podcast was number 69. And now by the time this one come out, it'll be podcast number 96. So those numbers keep coming around. And I think it's kind of meant to be for us to have this conversation. So
I think it's divine intervention and very telling.
Yeah. So thanks so much for joining me on the podcast, and greatly appreciate.
I appreciate that. And the last time we saw each other was December 6th.
That's true. That's true. Well, listen, It's good talking to you. And
you too.
This comes out. But thank you so much for sharing. Hold on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege.
You're welcome. If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.